This is my story. I was born on the 11th of February to a young girl who, due to her circumstances, has decided that it was in her best interest to give me up for adoption. When I say her best interest, I'm nowhere bitter about this, as it was a very difficult time back then, and should I have found myself in that same position, I would have probably done nothing different. I'm sure it was in no way an easy decision, and when I think of her circumstances and the terrible feelings of fear and anxiety she must have had to endure, I feel so heartsore for her. I was born a regular baby girl, except for no family so to speak of, a future totally uncertain. Fast forward 7 days. He put the phone to his ear, totally unaware of how the next few minutes were going to change his and his family's life forever. He listened to the lady on the other side of the phone and without a moment's hesitation said yes. And that was it. A 3-letter word that changed the course of so many lives, but most of all mine. You see, they'd done this before, adopted a baby boy 4 years earlier, a boy called Gary, who was to become my brother. The man, Dad, went back to the table and sat down. Casually, the lady who was soon to become my mom inquired as to who had been on the phone. The welfare, he answered. They called to ask if we would like to adopt a baby girl. She is 7 days old. I said yes. We need to pick her up tomorrow morning in Durban. The house went wild, so I'm told. Gag, my granny-to-be, who had sworn that she would pack her bags and leave if they brought home another child, my brother took naughty to a whole new level, was totally overjoyed. My sister Joy could not wait for her new doll. That night the excitement was palpable. Word spread through the town of Port Shepstone like a tidal wave. The Thompsons were adopting a baby girl. The pharmacist arrived that night with nappies and formula. Someone arrived with a cot. Baby clothes materialized. Blankets, soaps, creams. Everything a baby girl could ever want or need. My mom later said it was like the whole town had come to life. Everyone was already so invested in the new baby without even knowing a thing about her. By the time the troop left for Durban the next morning, the Thompson household looked like they'd been preparing for the arrival of the new baby for months, where in fact it was a mere few hours. They say it takes a village to raise a child. So there it was. He simply said yes, no hesitation. I'm told I always called for him in the dark hours of the night. It was always Dada, Dada. He loved me before he laid eyes on me, and I knew it. I knew he would love me and care for me forever, and he does. With him, I would always be safe. My life has been very blessed, and I always felt loved and very special. My adoption was never a secret. It was an openly discussed subject. At the age of 21, my parents bought me an envelope with all the details of my biological parents. They felt I was now ready to make a choice as to whether I would like to explore the avenue of finding out about them. I declined the offer for 2 reasons. A, I felt it would be hurtful to these outrageously kind parents of mine. And B, my life was so blessed. Why would I even consider going this route? So I said thank you and asked them to keep the information safely for me in their safe. To date, I've had no need for it. I'm now 50 and cannot possibly see that changing anytime soon. I really felt God prompting me to pen this story. Why now, you may ask? Well, I turned 50, as I said, in February this year, and while I have no problem with age, I have the feeling that time is such a vital resource not to be wasted, and from the age of 50, this feeling has vamped up to a sense of urgency within me. Besides that, this year I embarked on a counseling course, my second one in fact. I really love people, and there are so many in need of a space that they can talk out the issues and come to grips with their situations. I felt if I can help with providing a sounding board and a safe place for them to do this, well then I'm blessed. So the course this year is called The Journey. It's very spiritual and very thorough, and you really dig deep. I was blown away when answering questions about myself to find out that I have a serious problem with abandonment issues that go back to my adoption. How could this be? I've had trials and tribulations, but on the whole, I've had a charmed childhood and with a wonderful family. But no, the issue's there. Having become aware of it, I can now see with clarity the impact that it's had on my life. I've had to face it and work at breaking down the walls of fear and anxiety that have stemmed from this. I've questioned a counsellor on this issue I was facing, stating that I could not believe that I had a problem. But what she said put it all into perspective. The anguish and fear that my birth mother had to endure while she was carrying me had a huge impact on me as a fetus. This in turn manifested itself into fear and uncertainty and anxiety of loss. The fear of not feeling good enough and the fear of often feeling undeserving. Then I got to thinking, if this is how I feel, there must be so many in the same position, so many children that were given up for adoption, whether to families that were challenged or not. These children may face the same issues as I've had without even being aware of the root cause. You see, I believe it's very difficult to slay a giant if we don't know who or what the giant is. Life is challenging enough without having to drag these boulders of fear or abandonment with us. We need to be overcomers, and we can only do that by recognizing the issues that are holding us back. And then there are these brave mothers that went through these pregnancies only to give up their children at the end of it. How devastating to go through all of that and come out with nothing. The feeling of emptiness and sorrow, of regret and anguish. Fear of not knowing what has become of your child and the continued thinking of them throughout your life. Ladies, mothers, girls, I salute you. There's a lot to my story, of course. I just wanted to reach out to those children, adults like myself, who sometimes feel a little bit less than for no reason, who sometimes felt unworthy or maybe even dispensable. You're not alone. I'm not saying that you need to have been adopted to feel like this, but if you were and have had the issues that I've had, this may shed some light onto why. I'm no doctor. I don't have the answers to all the questions. I'm walking my own journey one day at a time. The blessing is I now recognize who the giants are. I personally find the Word of God a very effective tool when those thoughts of negativity come into my head. I counteract them with the Word, and even though it is a daily challenge for me, it certainly does help. My name is Kim, and this is my story.